Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to teach you and go over the SQL group by statement. And the SQL group by statement is very useful and is an important statement in SQL. And very briefly, I'm going to show you an image I made. If I had seen an image like this when I first learned about group by, I think it would have made it much easier. And then I'm going to show you an example spreadsheet and showing you doing something that's roughly equivalent to group by. And then I'm going to show you actually doing group by in a database, and I'll show you how you can play around with the group by statement by yourself in this link that I'll show you. So I hope this video will be useful for you and a good overview of group by. Okay, so in a nutshell, group by is a way to take rows and put them into groups or buckets by a common thing such as their column, and then usually do things like summary statistics on the groups that you made. And then this is the basic form of a sorry, I meant to say this is the basic form of a group by statement. So you're going to select some grouping columns, some aggregate functions on some columns from some table, group by some grouping columns. Okay, so this is an example. You can say group by gender and the average yearly salary from salary and group by gender. So let's come back to this. Let's go over this image first, because I think this image will really help. At least it has for me, and this is a simple image, but it took me a while to make this. Okay, so let's say you have original data. For example, I'm going to show you this. We have name column, career column, yearly salary, gender, age, and age group. And notice that we have different people. We have males, we have females, M for male, F for female. We have different age groups, people in their 30s, in their 20s, in their 40s, and so on. And we can think of each one of these people as being part of some group. For example, males, Brad is a male, Luke is a male, and so on. And if we look at this, we can think of each person could be thought of as being part of some group. Whether it just depends. Maybe this person's occupation is the same as this person's occupation, or maybe their age is the same as this person's age, and so on. Maybe where they're from is the same, their nationality or whatever. There's so many different ways to classify people or things. But let's just say, for example, we want to talk about age or age group. Maybe this person is in their 30s. This maybe red is people in their 20s. Maybe purple is people in their 40s. Maybe green is people in their 50s, and so on. You just need to pick the group, whatever group that is. And the color here is just, you can think of it as basically just any category of thing to group by. So notice that we have, again, all these different people, and they all have their types of information. But, for example, we can say that there's here there's two genders, male and female. We can put them into groups, or we can put age group into groups. And this is what this is showing here. This is showing putting them into groups. So I took this yellow person, this yellow, put it there, blue, put that into a group. So this is a blue group, a green group, a red group, a purple group, and so on. And the colors for me is to represent basically any category you want to sort by. This could have been gender, for example. Anyway, the point is that we have, I happen to have 5 groups. It doesn't have to be 5 groups. It could be 2 groups. For example, maybe we just have this is male, this is female, and we just had less data than this. Or maybe this is career. Maybe this is doctor, and maybe this is lawyer, and maybe this is teacher, engineer, and so on. Or again, there's so many different ways you can classify things into groups. This is a salary spreadsheet, but you can apply the group by idea to basically anything. So the first thing is you have the original data, and then what you do is you group by. So you sort, you can sort them, for example, get all the yellows together, or you can have a filter. Many different ways to do this, but the basic idea is you just make the groups. And then the next step is to do aggregate functions. So for example, let's say we wanted female. We can take all the females and then get their average salary. Or we could have done the minimum salary, or this means get the number of those rows in that group and more. So again, I think that this visualization can help, I hope. So the main idea for group by is you have the original data, and then you decide on something to group by, for example, color. But here the color doesn't have to mean literally just color. It could mean their occupation or their income, maybe their income category, or their, again, their nationality, or maybe their first language, or many other things. And then we do aggregate functions. And then the final thing is that we have the group by thing. So let's go through the spreadsheet. Again, we have this data, and Brad is a doctor, has 150,000 per year, is a male, is age 35, happens to be in the 39 group or 30s group, and so on. Cheryl is a software engineer, makes this much, and so on. And Cheryl is in a different age group and is a different gender. So let's say, for example, we want to group by the gender and get the average salary. So the first thing we can do is we can, for example, we can take this same data, and all I did here is I just sorted it by gender. Or yeah, so you can, for example, here you can do data, sort range, and then you could have done the by gender, and then I did from reverse. So all this did is just basically put it into, and then I added I think 3 spaces, 3 blank rows. And here all I did is, okay, so here are all the females. And what I did is I took the average of all their values. And similarly, I did the average of all the males. And this is actually how I did it in a real database. So the command is select gender, comma, the average. In SQL, average is AVG. If you type AVEREGE, you'll actually get an error. So you can only do average this way in SQL. So I did the average of yearly salary from the salary table, group by gender. And notice here we have 91,203.75, and that's what that is there. And then the female average is 256666.6667, and we get the same value there. So okay, and let's do another one here. Let's do we'll group by the age group. So for example, we have 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. So we have 5 distinct groups. And what we can do here is, again, here all I did is I sort by the age group. Like here, you see we have the distinct groups, and then I just added 3 blank lines. And what I did here is I did average yearly salary. I did the average function in here, and the average yearly salary for people in their 20s is this. And this person is a bit of an outlier. That's why this is so high. For people in their 30s, the average salary is 120,000. And I don't know if these people are outliers, if that's really representative of people in their 30s, but that for this limited amount of data, the average was just this. So this plus this plus this plus this plus this over 5. That's what that average function does. And similarly, this is people in their 30s or in their 40s, sorry, people in their 40s, and that's the average salary. And there was only one person in the 50s, so it's going to be the same number. And similarly, there's only one person here, so it's the same number. And I just wanted to show you now in SQL doing the same thing. What we did is we did select, and then we did the age group. So select age group and average yearly salary from salary group by age group. And notice here, this is people in their 30s, and this is not sorted by this. You know, this is slightly out of order, but that's okay. Let's look at this up. This people in their 30s have an average of 120,000. Is that right? People in their 30s average 120,000. That's right. Okay, people in their 20s, they have 398,157. Okay, fantastic. And let's test one more. People in their 40s should be 8840. And we have 88400. So that's correct. So that's the basic idea of group by. And again, we did an example. That's an example. And we have aggregate functions. And that includes average, AVG, min is minimum, max is maximum, and count star. This says how many, it tells you how many rows there are for a given thing. And again, this was an example. Let's say you wanted to group by the gender and get the average yearly salary for that group. And this is the general form of how you would do it. Select gender, average yearly salary, comma, average yearly salary from salary, group by gender. And similarly, this is how you can do it for age group. And this is something you might get. And this is an important note that if you're using group by, all the columns after the select, this one here, must also either be in the group age group, but must also be after group by or have an aggregate function like this. Otherwise, you'll get an error, most likely. And again, just as a reminder, this is the basic idea. You have the original data, put them into groups, put some aggregate, calculate some aggregate functions, most likely, and then you'll end up with something like this. You see here, this was the average yearly salary by age group, and this is average yearly salary by gender. And group by really is very useful, but it can take some time to get used to. Okay, so this is a review of SQL Select. And if you want more in depth about SQL Select, you can go watch my video here. And I wanted to show you here, again, I mentioned that you can play around with this. So what I did here is this is making a table, and this is inserting the same data as I had in the original data. And here, this is select star from salary. That's showing all the, this is showing the same data. Well, we have Brad as a doctor, Sana, Luke, and so on. And I'll put a link to this so you can actually literally copy this. And what you can then do is go to this link and also put this in the description. And you can override this code and you can run it yourself. And you can see I have like that. Now I'm going to uncomment. I'm going to comment this out, and I'm just going to show you a one group by. So this is the group by gender. Get the average yearly salary, and that's what we had before. And for example, now let's do group by age group and get the average yearly salary. And we notice we have these different age groups and their average yearly salary. Okay, so again, the group by, it's a little bit complicated initially, but I really hope that this image can help you. So again, you can think of each person as unique, but they're also in categories, and you just pick the category or thing that you want to group by, make the different groups, and then perform aggregate functions. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please subscribe to or follow my channel, and see you in the next one. Thank you.